So, I went through a friend breakup and I'm all sorts about it. Like, of course, I'm upset and I'm angry, but I don't really know. It feels stupid and pointless because she kind of ghosted me and she's just like living her life, and I'm the one that's upset. So, my anger, it's like, what's the point? Like, what am I supposed to do with this feeling? But I know that I need to feel the anger and process it in order to move on. Like, I never want to ask somebody, why don't you like me? Like, if I feel like I need to ask someone that question, my answer is there. Clearly, I'm not important to you. And ultimately, I'd rather know that and act accordingly. But it stings. And I think I need to lean into that so that I stop thinking about it, because I can't help but randomly think about her all of the time and get mad and then get sad and go through that whole thing. Like, I want to get better at letting myself be upset and letting that pass through me, because these things will happen. And I've done these things too, which is the other part of it. Like, this year, I stopped being friends with somebody. And I know why I did it. And I'm not really, like, I'm not going to condone myself. Like, I'm not going to criticize myself for it, because it was a unique situation. I'm on my side. I could have handled it better though. But because of that, I'm kind of left wondering, is this karma? Am I allowed to be angry because am I a hypocrite if I'm angry? But between you and me, Void, I guess I do get to be angry. I get to have my cake and eat it too, which is like the worst way to use that phrase in this situation. What happened was, it kind of goes back. I think there's like dominoes. And because I'm upset now, a lot of old things that I used to let go, I'm remembering them, and now I'm like freshly angry about it because I'm just mad at her in general. I'm going to call the friend that ghosted me Alice. And so what happened between me and Alice was, at the start, so basically Christmas 2024, she told me that she wanted to talk because I had done something that like hurt her feelings, and she like wanted to talk to me about it. And I was like, of course, like, I don't want to hurt your feelings. I want to know, and I want to talk to you about it, and we can hash it out, and like, I'll apologize, you know? But like, hearing that from one of your closest friends is obviously really discombobulating. And I was like, okay, like, let's meet. And she called me and told me this. And she was like, or I just told her to tell me on the phone during that phone call. And she was like, no, like, I want to have this conversation in person. And I was like, okay, but you're about to go traveling for a month. So, and I'm not going to be in town. So you need to like coordinate this so that we can talk before you leave. And she's like, yeah, for sure. But she never did. And so she went off traveling. She went on a Euro trip all of January and just left me with that bombshell. Thankfully, at that point, I had grown enough that I wasn't going to let that ruin Christmas and stuff for me. I was just offended that it's like, why would you do that? Like, you could have just waited until you were back, or you could have told me in the moment. I don't know why you would do it like this. And then she came back from her trip and she didn't say anything. She literally lives like 10 minutes away from me. I could see on her Instagram that she was back in town, and she just wasn't saying anything, which is so fucking corny. I hate shit like that. Like, if you're gonna do that, at least be embarrassed to like post and do stories. And this is why I don't like Instagram. And at that point, like, I only had super, super close friends' stories like not muted, and it was still irritating me to see the story. So I waited a month. She wasn't saying anything. So this is now end of February 2025. I had the capacity at this point to be the bigger person. So I reached out to her and I was like, how are you? and she wanted to meet up, and she told me that like she was really anxious about talking to me and she was sorry that it took so long, and then ended up telling me like what the issues were. So basically Christmas 2023, about a year and 2 months before, Alice had a book launch party. She wrote a book and she had a party for it. And she was trying to invite her ex-boyfriend to this party. And I said, don't do that. Don't be stupid. Don't do that. You guys have been in this like cycle of talking to each other and then cutting each other off for years at this point, and don't do that. And it's not good for you. And more than anything else, he was in a relationship at this time. Like, you invited him, not his girl. And if he comes without that girl, that's sneaky and weird as hell. And if he comes with her, that's going to hurt you. I don't know why you would do that. I don't know why you would take your book launch and then make it about him. That's fucking weird. And what she told me was that she felt pressured by me and then didn't invite him, and that was her choice to make. And like, taking away his invite only led to so much more pain for her. When I first heard this, I was super apologetic to her. I was like, hey, like, I don't ever want to make you feel pressured to do anything. Like, I was just trying to give you my opinion as your friend, but I'm sorry that it caused you pain. And then my mind has now changed the more I've thought about this after. But then the second thing she brought up was in, I think, September 2024. This friend, when she's going through a hard time, like, the thing that happens, some people, they get depressed and they don't brush their teeth. This girl doesn't brush her hair, and she has like long hair, like hair that goes up to her butt, and it gets matted underneath. And I had noticed it got matted in September 2024, and I offered to like fix it for her, like help her with it, because living like that is super uncomfortable. And she came to my house, I dematted it, I had to cut some of it, and she's one of those, turns out, because I didn't know this, but turns out she's one of those people that's very, very attached to their hair. And the more that I've learned about dematting people's hair, you shouldn't cut it and stuff. And she's like, I was really overwhelmed, and I felt like you pressured me again, and like I didn't know how to say no. I didn't even have a chance to think about it before like my hair got cut. And this one, completely my fault. I don't personally care about my hair like that, so I just didn't register or even think about it for a second that she would feel some type of way. And that one, completely my fault, and I apologized for it, and I was super sorry. And I told her, like, I don't know why, I wish you would have told me these things in the moment, or at least like within a more reasonable time frame, not like a year later, because I would have wanted the opportunity to course correct. Like, that's what you're supposed to do as friends. And she was like, I know you were just trying to, like, you didn't have no malicious intent. You were just trying to be a good person. You're trying to be my friend. You've done so much for me. Like, because you're the void, I'm telling you this, but like, I've let her use my house. Like, during that book launch, I hosted like a bunch of her international friends for a week. When I had like no money, all I had was my place, I let her use it for a week. I've gotten her a job. Like, I've done a lot for this girl. And she's like, you've done a lot for me, and I know you didn't mean anything. And it was just like, because of other experiences that I've had where I've tried to like talk to people about things that they've hurt me and they blow up at me, I was just scared to talk to you. And I was like, dude, like, I'm not that kind of person. I would never, like, I would at least hear you out. And I wish you would have told me. And we all apologized. We made up. Everything was good. But like, personally, after I thought about the things she told me, one, I was mad. Even though she apologized, like, I was still like, why would you tell me that you needed to talk to me and then just blow me off for 2 months? And moreover, you came back and then you just didn't say anything. Like, that's really hurtful. And then the whole inviting her ex-boyfriend thing, that's crazy. Like, actually, it's fundamentally wrong that you wanted to invite him. It was so not okay to do that, because for that girl, think about the person he was dating. This guy, his issue has always been, and it was an issue when he was dating my friend Alice. His relationship timelines never made sense. Like, he breaks up with the one girl and then starts dating the other girl. But then when you find out more details, the timelines never made sense. They like always overlapped. And he had done this to like 4 girls in a row, and including my friend. So I'm like, why would you contribute to that? Like, why would you do that to that other girl? You've been in her position. Why would you do that? That's so selfish, honestly. And if I didn't say that to you, and I didn't call her selfish at that time, but maybe I should have, because I'm thinking about it and I'm just like, if I didn't say this to you, if I didn't check you as your friend, I'm not a good friend. I actually don't take back that I did that. And at the end of the day, we weren't children. Like, we're old enough that if you wanted to invite him afterwards, like, you could have. Like, no one had a gun to your head. And then to move past that situation, and then instead of doing a personal inventory and trying to understand what happened, you just shifted all the blame onto me. That's crazy. Why the heck are you interested in someone who's dating somebody else instead of working on, after years at that point, working on truly moving past him and like getting your life together? And instead of taking that responsibility, you were shifting it onto me and saying that it's my fault. Hello? No. So that always kind of was bugging me, and I was still hurt about a lot of this stuff because I'm like, I don't know if this girl truly like understands, but I didn't care at that time. These were like thoughts at the back of my head, but you know, I was just glad we made up and like we were talking and stuff. But she was super busy. I was super busy. We didn't really see each other that much. And there was a point where we did see each other, and she told me how she had gone to lunch with this guy that we used to know. This guy is a freaking crackhead. No offense to crackheads, but I remember thinking in the moment, it is so hard for me to see you and for us to hang out and have quality time together, but you made time to see that guy? That is odd priorities. Whatever. I let it slide. I thought it was weird, but I was like, okay. And then she had to go on a work trip. She was going to be gone for an entire month of May, basically. She left like, I think the last week of April, and then she came back the first week of June. So I wished her well on her trip. She didn't answer. And I texted her that I had actually gotten a cat. I told her the story of how I had been given my cat that I've made a voice memo about. And it wasn't, that message wasn't actually about the cat. Basically, we hadn't talked in so long. I was trying to like strike up a conversation with her because I needed to tell her that I was pregnant. And I was going through it because I didn't want to be pregnant. So I wanted to like talk to my friend, but we hadn't talked in a while. So I was trying to use my cat to like strike up conversation, but she never answered. So I ended up leaning on my other friends and getting through that. I'm not pregnant anymore and I don't have a child. So you know what happened. But she like never knew about that. And so after that experience, I was kind of irritated because I'm like, you didn't even respond to, like, you know, your friend gets a cat, you at least say yay. You at least heart the image in iMessage. But she didn't do any of that. So I was like, okay. And then so much had happened in the time she was gone that I was just like, I felt like a huge ocean between us. And then June comes around and she doesn't say anything. She's back in the city, living 10 minutes away from me again, and doesn't say that doesn't try to like talk to me at all. So at that point I was cheesed, but I was going through a lot. That's like when my bad times had truly started, the current flop era that I'm in right now. And I kind of had a lot to deal with. But it's been a while, and I actually ran into her at the mall a couple of weeks ago. And we honestly just acted like we didn't know each other. So after that, I kind of came home and I was just like, wow, this girl claims to be this like super spiritual person who practices yoga and does this and that. And I'm kind of like looking at what has just happened between us, like this whole year basically. And I'm like, you're a liar. You're not a spiritual person. You're actually a very, very anxious in your head person who needs to like work on themselves. And check themselves and have an honest conversation about like who you are and what you're capable of and where you need to go. Because the person that she like portrays herself as and the person that like, I saw at the mall and we just ignore each other are two different people. Like, I am really upfront about the things that I lack and the problems that I have. Like, I don't pretend, like, on paper, I seem super spiritual too. Like, I have my yoga teacher training, I'm a fitness instructor, I've done this, I've done that. And I'm always, telling people like, yeah, but I have a long way to go. Like, my journey, I'm ever evolving, and I'm better than I was yesterday, but I have a long way to go. Like, I have my problems. And she's not like that. So I'm kind of like mad that irritates the hell out of me. And then there's a part of me that's like, okay, like, what was the deal? Like, why did you just stop talking to me? Like, what happened? Did something else happen that made you upset at me? And I hate that. I hate that I think like that, And I don't have the capacity this time to be the one that reaches out first. Maybe in the future I will, and I'll try, but not right now. I am really hurt that she did it again after I told her that it hurt my feelings the first time. And as a side note, like, to find out that she had been upset with me for a year and didn't say anything, that was massively triggering, because one of the things my mom used to do to me was she would get mad at me for stuff and she would treat me different and I wouldn't know why, and she wouldn't give me the opportunity to like correct my behavior. She would just ice me out, and that shit was massively triggering and anxiety inducing. So to find out that my friend had done the same thing to me was really like, it was an icky feeling. And I told her that too, like, hey, like, I don't appreciate that, because I could tell throughout 2024 that something was off. And it turns out I was right. And the thing about this friendship is, in my mid-20s, I went through a really big depressive period, and I pushed a lot of people in my life away. And like, I've since repaired those friendships, but coming out of that, I really made it my mission to never do that again, like, to be there for my friends, to try really hard to be like, to have maintain my connection with the people in my life. So this is a friend I made after I came out of that depressive episode. So I really tried with her, and then this happens. So it's frustrating. But to call it back to the start, maybe this is karma, because I ghosted somebody this year. And what happened with that story, I'm going to call this girl Bethany. Bethany and I worked together, and she was like much younger than me, and I kind of was like her older sister, and Bethany wasn't very nice to other people. I didn't know to what extent, because she was always super kind to me, but eventually I started to notice, and I didn't like it. And I tried to talk to her about it, but like, this girl is the type of girl where everyone else is wrong, she's right, everyone's out to get her, like, nobody is on my level, and like, I'm the victim, everyone else the perpetrator, but it's like, you're guilty of the things that you're, claiming everybody else does. You're holding people to a standard that you do not meet yourself. That sort of vibe. And she ended up getting deported. That's like a whole other thing. She ended up getting deported in April. And I thought, she's leaving the country. The things that I have an issue with, like, they're not going to matter anymore. She's going to be gone for a long time. But the day she left, she was rude to a friend of ours, and I had enough. I was like, dude, I can't. What are you doing? Like, don't say this, don't say that. And then she claimed that I wasn't supporting her. She took it personally. And then I was just like, I don't have time for this. Like, a lot is going on right now. If you're keeping up with the timelines, this is around the time I found out I was pregnant. So I had a lot on my mind. And so when she ended up getting deported, we had that fight. I didn't talk to her after that. And she tried reaching out. Even though I told her I needed space, she just kept reaching out because she wanted to feel better, and I just wasn't answering. And a lot has happened since. Like, there's something that happened at our workplace, and now we're at a spot where like we are never going to speak again. Like, she's mad at me, but I don't think it was wrong for me to not want to be friends with her anymore because of the things that she was doing to other people. Maybe I should have talked to her about why I was cutting her off, but because of the things that were going on at that time, like, I can't blame myself for it. And is it really my responsibility to like tell somebody like the way that you treat people is not right? Because she's the type of person who wouldn't just like sit and hear what I had to say, you know? She would flip out at me, and I really didn't want to like deal with that. So I feel like part of like what I did was not the best, but at the same time I did the best that I could in that situation, and she'll never understand that. She's going to see me as the villain like for the rest of her life. And maybe that's what's happening with Alice. Maybe Alice needed to cut me off because she saw something in me that she didn't like, and she doesn't feel the responsibility to tell me like what that is. And on my side, like, I never want to be asking someone, why don't you like me? Because the thing about Alice is that she has a lot of acquaintances. I think she like really gets a thrill off meeting new people and having like a bunch of connections, and maybe they're not as deep. She does have a lot of like really close friends and really close family. And I guess I just don't make that list. And it just is what it is. And at this point, I know not to put that effort in with her. And because I'm going through a flop era, I can recognize that I'm just mad because it's just like another hit. This girl she's like a naturally happy person, and I'm like a naturally negative person who has to like choose to lift myself up every day. So I'm kind of like, I think I'm also just mad that I feel like I'm the one that suffers in this situation, and she just kind of gets to like move on and act like nothing ever happened. And that just upsets me because it just feels unfair. So I'm kind of just like, what do I do with all my feelings? Like, I'm mad, but I don't really know what to do with it. It feels pointless to be mad. Like, I'm the one that's upset. I can't tell her why I'm upset. I don't think she'd even understand. Am I allowed to be upset because I'm kind of being a hypocrite? I don't really want to talk to her. So I'm like not willing to try that either. So then what do I do? Like, I'm at an impasse, and I'm not very good in general at processing my emotions. So I've just been kind of finding myself thinking about her a lot and getting really like irritated and mad and wondering like what went wrong, and feeling like victimized because she ghosted me, and then feeling mad because I'm like, you're a fake. You're a fake, but like, it's not going to affect you at all. Like, you get to be a fake, everyone just eats it up, and you just get to live on, and that's not fair. But like, why does that matter to me? Like, she can be a fake and live her life, and that has nothing to do with me. So I'm kind of like, how do I get over it? I don't want to just let time pass. That will be a part of the healing, but I want to be more proactive about my healing this time with this situation. And part of me is like, am I a bad friend? Like, the insecure part about me. But the thing is, though, I'm not a bad friend. Like, if she wanted to be my friend and like work out her problems, I would have been open to it. I'm having a reaction to the fact that like she cut me off and she has all these other people in her life. And I guess I'm hurt from the fact of not being chosen. And that's like a really icky feeling. I also feel bad and guilty that I cut off Bethany. and I hurt Bethany in the same way. It makes me think about that and think about how I should have done it differently. Like, if I ever feel this way about somebody in the future, like, I need to handle the situation better. I don't want to be an Alice, so I need to not be Alice. Like, I'm doing all my habits and I have my non-negotiable routine and this and that, but it's not like it's helping me process. It's raised my baseline, but I'm not, like, I haven't gotten over, I haven't had a breakthrough. Like, I'm still upset. I don't really know what to do with those feelings. Like, where do you put them? How do you feel your feelings and let it go? People say all of like different sort of stuff, but I don't really know what to do other than just be like mad and feel like I have nowhere to put the anger. Friend breakups are so annoying. Like, we're all so complicated. I keep thinking about how she has her like own side to the story, and there's probably like a million reasons on her side for why she decided to do this, or she just like came back and felt anxious about talking to me and then decided just not to and I was avoiding it. But that's just like, that idea of that pisses me off because of the type of person she portrays herself as. Like, really? And also, like, what did I do to you that's making you so anxious about talking to me? Okay, also, she has people in her life that she has had issues with, and whenever she's tried to talk to them, they've like blown up at her and made her feel so bad and small, and they're still in her life. That's crazy. So it's like, what did I do to you? Like, I've tried my hardest to be nice. When you told me that I did something wrong, I apologized. What more? And I am starting to see the side of like, maybe this friendship wasn't meant to last because I don't need to be friends with somebody who can't reflect on their behavior. I don't need to be friends with somebody who like isn't trying to like check in on me but talks to their other friends. Like, I really live by the phrase a rising tide lifts all boats. When I get something, I make sure like my whole friend group gets it too, When I have money, I make sure I can get my friends the things that they've needed. When I had a job, I made sure I can try to see if I can get that job for other people like this friend. And things like that, like, I've tried my best. Like, when I get something, I make sure the whole crew levels up as well. And my other friends, they're like that. This friend, though, when I've needed her help with stuff, she hasn't really been around for me. And there were moments where she's like, why didn't you tell me that this was happening? And maybe my psyche the whole time knew that I couldn't lean on her, which is why in the past I didn't tell her stuff until it was solved. And sometimes she was a little scatterbrained. Like, she would do this thing. I'm an only child, and you'd be surprised how much this would happen to me, but like, one time she was like talking about how her sister was trying to get pregnant, and she was like, oh, I have friends who have children and I'm like their auntie, but nothing will ever compare to like when my sister has a kid and like I'm an aunt through blood, like, that's my sister's kid. Like, that will mean so much. Don't you agree? And I looked at her and I was like, yeah. Like, how did you forget that I'm an only child? I can't relate to this experience at all. It was weird, but I knew she didn't mean anything by it, so I let it go. But now I'm thinking back to it, I'm remembering it, and I'm like, maybe that was a sign that this girl is not as thoughtful kind of person. Like, she's not as thoughtful, she's not as considerate, and maybe like we weren't meant to be like friends for a season, not a reason, that type of thing. Anyways, mostly I just want to move past this. There's no timestamp on grieving, but I want to be better at it because what I've just done in the past is just like be assaulted by the memories and the person, but and just kind of suffer through it until enough time passes that I'm not really thinking about them anymore. But I don't want to do that this time.